You're listening to Tales from the Flipside. Tales from the Flipside. Tales from the Flipside.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining us for episode 139 of CBSI Presents Tales from the Flipside. Make sure you go to comicbookinvest.com for all your speculation and comic needs. We got some really special guests in the house. You guys know the regulars. We got Z and Deno here. Of course, we've got Anthony from Bird City joining us. You guys all know Anthony from Bird City Crew. You watch the Hot 10. You follow Bird City on Facebook. They've got an awesome announcement that they're sharing with us tonight with the one and only Greg Horn. Greg, thank you for joining us on Flipside, man.
Hey, absolutely. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we talked a little bit about this last night. We're just going to get into it, guys. We talked a little bit about this last night on Bird City's live stream, and they announced a really sweet cover they're doing for Punchline #1 with Greg. And Greg, you've been wanting to base a cover on this meme for a while, it sounds like.
Oh yeah. I attend a lot of conventions, and people come up to me and they'll want me to do commissions for them. And whenever I do a commission, if it's a high-end one, I like to come up with an idea. So I actually did this back in 2010, and I hope you'll be able to see it here pretty good. You can see I've been thinking about this distracted boyfriend meme for quite some time.
I love it.
It's Emma Frost walking down the street, and none other than Goody Two Shoes Captain America is taking a little peek.
That's beautiful.
That is gorgeous. How long ago was that? Do you remember?
That was 2010.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's excellent. And to be honest, hold on here because the Emma stuff, you also have something that kind of relates to this later on. So remember that stuff. The Emma stuff kind of relates to this later on. So keep that in your head. But this meme not only turned into that commission, but somehow it turned into this gorgeous take on Punchline. And that meme, which is really sweet, and it looks like we're losing Greg for a second here. We'll see if this
one is great. I love it. I love it when there's something just amusing to the story, you know.
Yes, and one of the things that he brought up that we can see you guys. Can you hear us, Greg? We can't hear you now for some reason. So come back, go away, and come back, and then we should be able to hear you. For some reason, it happens when you click over. Right. So one of the things that Greg said last night is, and that we kind of noticed with Anthony, is the look on Harley's face.
Yep.
That just blows me away. Like, she's pissed.
Yes.
And the A cover is really sweet because it has the trade dress, of course, and everything. But for the B cover, no trade dress. It's kind of got that distressed look that Anthony was talking about last night, which is really cool. I think Greg did such a good job, and Anthony. How did the whole conversation go when he kind of said or the idea of this meme came up?
So when I first got in contact with Greg, he had this idea because when I reached out, I had total that starstruck moment where they're like, "Hey, Greg Horn is interested in working on this," and I'm like, "Really? No shit." Yeah. So when I actually got in contact with him, I was so thrown off. I was like, "I got no ideas. Give me a couple of days to think about it." And he's like, "I got an idea."
I got an idea.
And he pitched this, and I was like, you know what? I can't think of anything better, and this is amazing to me already. Like the whole concept, because of the dynamic Harley Punchline thing, I was like, it already works. So I said, go do your thing, and this is what he turned it into.
Awesome, Greg. Really came out great.
I love that one.
Thank you.
It's a great cover.
Can you guys can hear me now?
We can
Yes.
hear you now. You sound great.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're all good. Yeah, my
Um,
alarm went off. That's what caused the problem.
No worries, man. No worries. But yeah, so this is the B cover. No trade dress, has the distressed look, looks gorgeous. But you know, one of the most beautiful covers I've seen in a long time is the C cover. And I'm gonna talk about the C cover before we show it, because if I remember correctly, Greg, you've talked about kind of like this whole money thing for a while back in the day, because you started with this beautiful Emma cover.
Right. Yeah, this was a cover that I did, I guess that's around 2005. And this storyline was about Emma Frost's teenage years. So I had to I had to paint accordingly, you know, and she's, you know, make sure she's not too oversexed in this piece of art. And then I was doing a lot of conventions, and I decided I wanted to do a Harley piece. So since I've got these in layers, Photoshop layers, I was able to take Emma Frost out and put in this movie version of Harley Quinn, and I renamed it Blood Money.
I like it.
So that has been the name. That's been the name of this art ever since.
And
yeah, you can see there.
yeah, so
That
gorgeous. Like, this was one of the
No.
biggest covers when this came out. This cover blew everybody away. I remember seeing it on every list. Everybody was talking about it at the time.
Yeah, that was Harley 25th anniversary. There's actually 3 covers that go with that set.
That's
Yes.
just, the coloring is just fantastic on it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's
I
one of the
appreciate that.
That's one of the things that I think you're known for is the coloring on your stuff. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that works in your process?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, my background's airbrush art, so realism has always been a thing I've tried to achieve with my art. And then with the vibrancy, I've always tried to keep my art pretty vibrant. But when I first started working on computer this is back in 1997. I've been at this a while, and you know, that was when I really started getting into a more rich color palette, because there were so many options available going from paper to digital. Of course, I found out very soon that most of the colors you can see on your screen, you cannot print them. So that became my next goal, was to essentially figure out all the colors that would give you the maximum pop, but at the same time print out on a comic book cover.
There you go.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody having that problem. Of course, I'm not in that field of business, but I've never heard that being an issue where the colors are so vibrant they can't even print out well.
Oh yeah, it turns out the hardest colors to get within the printer's gamut is purple and green. So that means for a colorist, the Hulk is the toughest character.
Interesting.
That is very interesting.
And Joker.
And Joker, yeah.
He's got all that. So I had a question that we didn't get to ask Saturday. What was the transition like going from paper to digital? Because I know some local artists and they don't do a lot of digital, and it's just not their preference. Was that tough?
No, surprisingly, it was really second nature. I can't even explain it, because before I first tried painting on computer, I had maybe one class in art school, and this was going back to like the very first Corel Draw, where you just had a paint bucket and a pencil.
Right on.
And it was just crap. So I really I had no idea what I was doing, but a friend helped me get started, and the particular technique that I'm doing, which is airbrush, just kind of translates over to Photoshop very neatly, and everything just seemed very intuitive. I was able to catch on like that.
That's pretty rad.
It is cool. Well, this cover kind of gave way. Well, the 3 cover set, this idea kind of gave way to the C cover, which, you guys, this is one of the most beautiful covers I've seen in a long time. Obviously, it helped by being. No, I'm serious, Greg. Like, no joke. Ask Anthony what I told Anthony when I saw the C cover. I said the A and B cover are great, but that C cover is unbelievable, and I think you guys will agree. Punchline It really looks amazing in this. The purple, you just brought out about how purple is hard to do color with, and you got the purple here. With Joker and Harley being on the money, the Joker clowns being on the money, the whole harkens back to the Emma Frost thing. And one of the things that I loved is what you talked about last night is your signature. Can you talk again about your signature on this?
Okay. Now, do you mean about the credit that I gave?
Yes, of course. The credit.
Okay, so I've done this painting, or iterations of this painting, about 8 times now. Certain stores will contact me and they'll say, "Hey, Greg, let's reprise this blood money thing on a deceased cover or on a Batman Who Laughs cover, and we'll do a slightly different version. Like, for instance, Batman Who Laughs has Harley with the big crazy Batman Who Laughs mask with spikes coming out of her eyes." So I keep saying I'm never going to do this cover again. And then you guys came to me with this Punchline cover, and I was like, well, it seems logical that Punchline should replace Harley. It totally works. So I will go against my word. I'm going to do this one last time. And then I decided, since I've done this so many times and it is a homage to another cover, I'm just going to credit myself. So if you look very closely, it says Greg Horn after Greg Horn.
Nice.
That is great. I love it.
And I don't know how people are going to react to this. I've got mixed reviews on my Facebook page, but most people seem to think it's pretty funny.
Well, you got to have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
You do, man. You do. You're doing. You're sitting at a table all day, staring at a screen. You got to have some fun with this.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So you see these 3 beautiful covers. Let me show you where you guys can go get them. Of course, you can go to greghornart.com. That is one of the one-stop shops for Greg Horn. You can see a lot of his work there. You can see a lot of the stuff he's doing in the future. Just keep an eye on that page. And of course, birdcitycomics.com. You guys all know about Bird City Comics. You watch them on their live stream. You see them on the Hot 10 every Friday. Go to birdcitycomics.com. Get yourself a set of these books. Get all 3, and at the same time, go ahead and grab a couple infinity frames while you're at it. They'll look gorgeous in them. Just beautiful books, and we can't thank Bird City and Greg enough for doing this. This is awesome. One of the things that I want to kind of talk about, considering we are, kind of based on the speculation game, is ask Greg what his thoughts on the spec game are, because a lot of his books play in this world, in this speculation world, because his cup, a lot of people talk about they buy covers and covers really grab them. And that's Greg's one of the best cover artists in the game. So a lot of his books are always in that speculation world. And what are your thoughts on speculation in comics right now, Greg?
Well, my background, when I first started collecting comics, I was collecting mostly Silver Age. So it's a surprise to see how well these books are doing, and to see that they do have legs to them. When I first saw these books going for this money, I thought maybe it was going to be like a temporary thing, but you can see, especially when you're doing it yourself, that this is something that is supported by many people, and it's just amazing to me. I've spent most of my career going to conventions and selling prints. And I first started trying my own variant books back in 2015. Wizard. I don't know if you guys remember Wizard conventions.
I was going to bring it up. I was going to bring up your Wizard stuff.
Yeah, they asked me to do a Wolverine book. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll do this Wolverine book. And what? You want me to do a sketch version of it? Okay, whatever you guys say. And then the next thing I know, I'm just getting inundated with emails about these books, and I'm like, oh wow, there's a huge market for this. I was very fortunate to get that job, because that actually led to my GameStop books. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those, but the GameStop books are interesting because you could only get them if you had reward points at GameStop.
Yep.
So you couldn't just walk into a store and get these books. And I did a book for them. It was Amazing Spider-Man #1, and it's an homage to the old Mike Zeck cover where Spidey is coming out of a grave and it says, "Here lies Spider-Man."
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys know? You familiar?
I
with
remember that one.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it up while you're talking about it.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Sweet. And that one actually caught the eye of Stan Lee's agent, and he contacted me and said, "Hey, would you like to do a promotion with Stan Lee?" And of course, I was like,
Yes,
"Duh,
please.
yeah, sure." And so I had already been doing remarks on the comic books. It was kind of a, it had kind of lost its flavor. A lot of people weren't doing remarks at the time. And so I decided to put some Spider-Man remarks and throw them up on eBay, and they were selling for big bucks. It was doing very well. And then I got this call from Stan Lee's agent, and I sent him 15 copies, and I thought, Stan Lee was going to sign them, and I'd get them back, and we'd put them in CGC cases. Yeah. Oh, cool. You got one. Okay. He actually drew little head doodles on there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I never heard of that.
Well, talking about the remarks, this leads perfectly into a segue, of a book that we saw, that we wanted to talk about. And this is your Red She-Hulk number 58 cover. This cover, I think every one of us on here can talk about this cover because it's been dominated. It was dominating the variant world for a long time in the spec industry. And then you started doing some of those remarks on this book, which sent it to the stratosphere for a lot of people that really wanted this book. And then they were going to get, remarks on it.
Right.
Talk about a little bit about your thoughts on this cover and what you think about it now.
Well, first of all, I remember this cover because very well, because sometimes I will submit something to Marvel or DC and I go over the line just a little bit and I go a little too risque. And this particular painting, I had ripped her costume. There was holes all over it. It was fantastic. And I sent it in and they said, "Greg, you gotta cover all that skin." And I was like, damn it. That's the first thing I think of when I see this cover. But when I did this cover, do you guys know what year this is? Is this like 2012?
I believe.
I think it is 12.
I'm gonna look up just to be safe.
Okay, so this is before I personally got into selling my own variant comic books, and I just did this cover, and I had no idea anything would ever come of it. It was just another cover I was doing. Is it a ratio, like a 1 in 50 or something like that?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 1 in 50. This one, 58 and 59. It's they're hard to get because nobody ordered. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Today, nobody ordered these, so there being a ratio, it was just hard to get.
2012.
Yeah.
So after I started doing my own books and paying attention to this stuff, I did start seeing this book on eBay, and I saw it was going for like $800 raw. I was like, "Holy crap!" So I immediately run back to my closet, and I'm like, "Where are those comp copies that Marvel sent me? God damn it!" And I'm going through them, and of course, unfortunately, Marvel, I love them, but they send my books in a manila envelope, essentially.
Oh, the comic book buyers. Oh.
They don't usually arrive in great shape, but I got to give a shout out to my man Drew Lugin. He runs Wanted Comics.
We love Drew and Wanted Comics. Good friends.
That's an awesome guy, and he actually sent me some copies of that in return for a remark. I did a remark, and he sent me some primo copies of She-Hulk.
Speaking of Drew and Wanted Comics, this was another comic on our list because this cover is just gorgeous. And in this, again, spec world, everybody was just going crazy for this Thor run. And you do this amazing cover with Wanted Comics and for Thor number 6, where it has Black Winter on the cover, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And this cover was huge. I mean, this is a recent cover, and it just took spec world by storm. I think still people are still trying to find this book, especially. One of the things I love about this book is sometimes you'll see them with your I wouldn't necessarily call them, I guess, remarks, but it's your sketch on there is kind of the same way, but you'll write stuff on them, and you'll do special books I've seen where it'll have like the title, and those look gorgeous too.
Yeah. For the past 5 books that we've done at my online store, we will include an option for what I call a text remark, which is something drawn, but in an interesting way. It's not just me scribbling on the book. And as a perfect example, and leave this up on because I got some more things to tell you about this. I think you'll enjoy. But
Awesome.
as a good example, I did a Venom 25 cover recently, and it had this character Virus on the cover.
Oh yeah,
And
we know about that book very well.
There we go. And we did this is an homage to the first War Machine. I believe it's Iron Man 252 or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when I submitted this, I wanted to write Virus over the Venom logo, just like War Machine is written over Iron Man's logo.
Cool.
And Marvel kind of didn't want me to do it. They said they didn't want to create any confusion and make people think this is a Virus comic book or something like that. So then we came up with this crazy idea. Yeah. But hey, we came up with this idea. We said, hey, how about we take 100 of them that we think are going to be 9.8s, and I just write Virus on there, just like I would have done it if I had designed the cover that way. And man, that turned into a big hit. People just went crazy for it, and we've been doing it on every book ever since.
Well, before we go back to the Wanted cover, this is a shout out to this book, and again to Bird City Comics, Anthony, because you were speaking about your covers remark on Greg Horn after Greg Horn. Well, Ryan Kincaid did a nice homage.
That's awesome.
And this is for all you guys out there viewing Bird City Comics. This is a limited print run that they did with Tigum Verse and Ryan Kincaid. So shout out to Ryan Kincaid over a beautiful homage to Virus. This is really cool stuff. So shout out to them.
That is my first time seeing that. That is wonderful.
Yeah, those are cool.
There we go. There's Dr. We call him Wanted Comics around here, but we'll give him the nickname Dr. Drew from now on.
Dr. Drew, I like that.
We got 3 docs in the chat. All right.
Hey, Dr. Drew and Easy G.
There you go.
Yeah.
Here, back to this. Okay, this Winter Soldier cover. Drew, perfect timing. Beautiful, beautiful job. I mean, everybody's already in the chat just talking about how great it is.
Yeah, this one I really love because it's got a lot of depth to it. When I do paintings, I try to use several techniques of creating depth. You know, you can use perspective, of course, but there's no real perspective in this piece. So you can achieve depth by having certain things darker than others. You know, like a black point. You can also have things more saturated in their color. And then, of course, the mist at the bottom where his feet are kind of fading away really just creates a cool look for this painting. I know that Drew is a big Silver Age geek, so of course I had to put the Kirby crackle.
Yes.
You can see that. But what's interesting about this cover, we just heard about a signing with Donny Cates, and they said that Donny Cates saw the little Galactus helmet in his hand. I don't know if you can see it on this screen, but there's a little tiny Galactus helmet. And I don't think this is a spoiler. If this is a spoiler, cover your ears. But Galactus is killed in issue 6, and Drew called it. He said, "Hey Greg, you know what I think is going to happen? I think Galactus is going to get killed in this issue." And I'm like, "Okay, Drew, whatever you say. I'll try it." So there we go, man. So anyway, Don Cates saw that, and he says, "How does Greg get away with this crap?"
It was just dumb luck, right? I mean,
total dumb luck. Yep.
Oh wow,
we had no idea if it was going to happen or not. We just threw caution to the wind.
I think it's great. I think everybody else thinks it's great.
What's cool about these and horn covers that I've always enjoyed, there's always so much to look at. There's so much to find. Like you said, the background's one thing. His hand is another thing. The smoke. There's so much to look at on these covers, which is just you could just stare at them.
Yeah, I'd say that kind of harkens back to my airbrush days. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the airbrush artists of the 80s and the 90s, but back then, this is before computer, and the idea was to go for hyper realism, hyper detail, and I guess that's just stayed with me through all this time. And I enjoy working on computer because you can kind of get in real close and add those details. I learned very early in my career that some details I was putting in, once they're printed, they're shrunk down and printed, you can't see those details. So I've had to curtail some of that. Yeah.
One of the things that, in the speculation industry that's really popping right now is second or later prints. Even second prints used to be kind of a thing that collectors really didn't want back in the day.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
collectors now are realizing that these second, third, fourth, and fifth prints have less printings, and especially are more wanted when there's different covers, whether it's a color change or a completely different cover. And one of those books that everybody is going crazy for in the last couple of weeks is this Marvel number 5, the old school Marvel cover. And this was one of your early project. Like, this is one of the early things that you worked on for Marvel, if I'm not correct, or Marvel, if I'm not correct.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This goes back to, I'd say, 2001, 2002. And I'll bet a lot of people are surprised to know that digital art's been around that long. But,
Yes.
Yeah, I was doing this way back then. And this book was part of like some weird kind of competition that the president of Marvel was having with the editor at Marvel. And they wanted to come up with these brand new books and see who could outsell the other. And you had to use a certain technique on the books. Like one guy was going to do like old school 50s kind of content. And then our content, of course, was going to be sex sells. This is back in the day when you could do this kind of stuff at Marvel. And so anyway, I'm doing this with the president of Marvel, Bill Jemas. He wrote this comic book, and he's like, Greg, so for the next cover, I want you to put Mickey on the cover. And I'm like, we put Mickey on every cover. And he's like, yeah, exactly. This is gonna be great. And I want her to be naked on the floor, holding a Wolverine claw. And I'm like, why is she holding a Wolverine claw? And he's like, I don't know, man. It'll be cool. Just do it. So he was a lot of fun to work with. It's a shame he didn't hang around. But yeah, this book brings back a lot of memories. You've got me intrigued because, you know, my whole life, a second printing is something you did not want. But I see the logic in what you're talking about. If you do a second printing of something, there's less of it.
Right.
So well, honestly, guys, I still kind of don't get it. Wouldn't you still want the first printing?
I'm an old school guy.
But when it's a cover like this, then it breaks
Yes.
that, you know?
Yeah.
The different cover.
So Marvel is printing this now. You can actually buy this.
No.
When was it? When was the second printing done?
Back then.
Yeah.
2002.
Oh, really? Okay, I
Yeah.
wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
crazy.
so we must have won the competition then if we were going to a second printing.
Yep.
See?
Would you win? Did you win like a 90s Corvette?
I wish. Yeah, no, it was you can look it up online. It was called You Decide, like the letter U - decide, and it explains the whole thing. And I think it was pretty much just bragging rights.
Uh-huh.
It was
you
lame.
got to keep working, right?
Exactly. I made the president of Marvel happy.
Yeah.
That counts.
Oh yeah.
Another book on this list, of course, we got to get Deadpool up here. This is one of the just greatest covers. And well, what do you think about Deadpool, Greg?
Well, I love Deadpool. That goes without saying. This cover, I'm pretty sure it took place during a month when they wanted to make every single cover Deadpool. So if it was She-Hulk, Deadpool was on there. If it was, it didn't matter. If it was Fantastic Four, Deadpool was on there. So they gave me this Spider-Man cover, and they actually asked me to do the homage to the original Bagley piece. So this is probably, I think this might be my very first homage.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that I love hearing stuff like that because one of the things that I collect is creator first. I like to get, like the first time Kurt Swan drew Superman, the first, like stuff like that, really, and their first professional work. And this is a question I wanted to ask you. I think I know the answer, but it's always nice to ask a creator. What was your very first professional work in comics?
Well, the very first professional work I did at the tender age of 17. It was called FemForce, FemForce. It was a book done by a local publisher down here in Florida, AC Comics. And it's FemForce 17, I believe. It's either 17 or 19.
19.
19. Okay, and it's got some chicks on the cover, and they're fighting a giant snake. And that is the very first professional work I ever did. Now, the very first mainstream work, like there it is. Look at that beauty. Wow. Good luck finding that in good shape.
Well, hey, I think I might have one or two, but you can see, guys, the Greg Horn signature is a little bit different on his first work. That's the way it works.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's
was
cool.
That's my first professional work right there.
I love it. All right, two more covers that I have, and I'll say my favorite for last. This is a really good one that I think is very underrated. Because it is a 1 in 25, and it's just a gorgeous cover. This is probably top 3 best Scarecrow covers in my opinion.
Oh, thanks, man! Wow.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. You knocked it out of the park on this.
It's the worms coming out of his eyes.
Yes, the worms. I like the little frog there. That's kind of like half out of one rip in the mouth. Yeah, man, really.
I forgot about that frog. Yeah, this is a cover that I did for Blackest Night. I believe this was back in 2008 or 2009. And I had a lot of problems breaking in at DC. And I went and talked to Dan DiDio at the booth in San Diego, the DC booth. And I showed him that I had been doing this reinvented art style. It was I was kind of changing things up because around that time I wasn't getting a lot of job offers. I guess my style was getting a little bit stale. So I said, all right, I'm going to switch things up, try new art style, maybe get a little more painterly, a little bit less airbrush. And this is one of the very first pieces done in that style. And I just love it. It's much more gritty than my earlier work. And I think doing it in this style allows me to do the very slick and sexy like I might use with Punchline, or do a very grungy and nasty art style that I would use with Scarecrow or Wolverine.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Oh, and also there's a little hidden object in here.
I love it.
You see how he's got that gold ring?
Yep.
There, the yellow ring. If you look very closely, there's little tendrils coming off of it, and they spell out fear.
Oh, I see it. Yep. That's awesome. Oh, people are going to love that. They're going to geek out over that. People love finding that stuff.
Hey, Brian, how many FemForce 1990 do you think are out there?
Oh, man. That can't be many. I mean, well, wait. Let's think this out, because this is back in the late 80s when comic books were selling more. This is just before the first speculator era, the 90s when you created Image and all that stuff. So who knows, man? There could be a lot of copies out there.
There's one.
9.8.
9.8. Somebody graded one and got a 9.8.
One got graded.
Yeah,
well, I'm
Brian.
Brian. It's not me, because I haven't sent any of my creators first in.
There's 198 and 296s that I'm assuming, Greg, you signed it to you. Yeah. 296s and 292s and like 185. But.
Oh man, I'm gonna have.
So there's not many, huh?
No.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's awesome. All right, the last book is one of my all-time favorites, just because I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan, and I remember when I first saw this book, it was paired up with the female Snake Eyes rollout. And this was a special C cover for that group. And I want to say it was one of the big cons. Might have been San Diego. Greg will tell us if he remembers. But this Scarlet cover is absolutely amazing. It's got the color. It's got one of my favorite characters. It's got the little blood under the cut under her eye. Oh, man, this is awesome. This is great.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you like this one. This is one of my favorites. G.I. Joe is like one of those nostalgia things that will always be with me. I had every action figure. I had all the play sets. I even had the Terror Drone, that gigantic Terror Drone that the rocket shoots out of the center.
Yep, the fire bat.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. So just doing G.I. Joe covers is always a blast for me. I really enjoyed doing this one. I think this was I can't remember what series this was exactly.
This was the beginning of the IDW series, maybe, or the end of it. I think it was the beginning of the IDW series.
Oh, wait. I know what it was. It was called Silent Option, because they were introducing the female Snake
Snake
Eyes,
Eyes.
where she has his brain pattern in her mind.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool if you think about it. You know what
Snake Eyes.
what Snake Eyes wants to say.
I never thought about it like that until then.
But he's going to say it in a sexy babe's voice.
Exactly.
There's that.
What do you think about the new movie coming out?
Oh, I haven't heard about it. What's going on?
They're doing a G.I. Joe movie, but it's like to reboot the whole thing, and they're starting off with the story of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow.
Oh,
and
wow.
That's supposed to lead into some other movies. And the next movie, there's rumors of John Cena and Tom Holland playing characters. They just haven't released the characters who they're playing yet.
That would be great.
All of us G.I. Joe fans got something to hope for. Before we let you go, I want to, since we have you here, just because for viewer count, I want to take this opportunity and let everybody know to check out our YouTube page. There's some amazing shows over there. Of course, this is where you guys can see this show. You could see a replay of the show from last night. But one of our favorite shows that we like to talk about is our 3 Comic Monty show. Which is really fun. They bring on creators in the comic book world, and they basically have them play a game where they talk about their favorite covers, cover artists, their type of covers. And last week they had Kari Andrews on, and it was an excellent show. So if you guys ever get a chance out there, you viewers out there, check it out. This is one of the shows you don't want to miss. Subscribe, hit the bell. You'll love 3 Comic Monty. Really good show. So hopefully one day, Greg, we can get you on there. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. No, that sounds like fun.
One last time, I want to say thanks to Greg and especially to Bird City Comics. I know I've taken up the whole interview. I really had to geek out on some of this stuff, but we really appreciate everything. And Z, I feel bad. Did you want to ask anything without me hogging everything?
I'm good. You're good. You roll. And I just appreciate Greg coming on. It was great to talk with you. And I love, your style has been just, I love the airbrush art of the 50s, so it's just kind of flowed.
Oh yeah, like all the pinup art.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's funny you say that.
The Schomburgs, all that stuff. Oh man,
it's funny you say that because Z, I think that one of the guys is doing a pinup show coming soon, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they're
3
doing
Comic Monty. Yeah,
3 Comic Monty's doing. David Nakayama is doing pinups next week, so that should be cool.
Very cool. So, Greg, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks again for Bird City Comics for both of you guys for doing this amazing cover, and we appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you. I had a blast.
Thank you.
All
Greg.
right.
Absolutely. See you guys.
See you, Greg. That was awesome. We can't thank Greg Horn enough. Just awesome, and you hit it out of the park with that choice, Anthony. It couldn't have happened better to get hooked up with Greg Horn and then to have him say, hey, I got this really cool idea and the comic that it was on, really cool. And I want to show it one last time.
I think if a creator has an idea, sometimes the best answer is just, yes, sir. You tell him you got an idea, it's probably a good one.
And that was totally our conversation. He's like, well, he's super respectful. He's like, you let me know what you're looking for. And I said, Greg, I don't know anything about art. I don't know if you know that about me. How about you do what you do, I do what I do, and we'll make this thing work. And he's like, I like it.
Yeah, very cool, man. And so last time, you guys, this is the C variant, the special C variant that is just absolutely gorgeous. And then you have the A and the B, which are a homage to this a great meme. What a great idea with Harley getting pissed that Joker's checking out Punchline. So make sure you guys go score some of these at birdcitycomics.com or at greghornart.com. And if you guys are looking to get these graded, or you just want to present them, really take up that offer or that advice to pick up one of those infinity frames, because they look absolutely gorgeous in those infinity frames.
The sale does go live tomorrow, 11 a.m. And 2 p.m. Greg's time. So we'll both have them on our websites. We're expecting it to fly fairly fast. So make sure you guys set an alarm and you're there for it.
Yeah.
What's the price point so everybody knows?
So $15 for cover A. We try to keep it fair and kind of standard to exclusives. It's going to be $29.99 for the B cover. We're going to do obviously a discount. You get the A and the B together for $40. C's we're going to offer very limited amounts of those as an a la carte deal. Those will be $45 a piece. And then, of course, we'll do an ABC combo for, I think we're going to do $69.99 on those. And then Greg will have his signature series, 9.8 options. I'm going to do all the blue label stuff. So we'll have 9.8s in all 3 covers available. So we think we covered the spectrum on that.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Before we move on to the market report, guys, and news, I want to remind you that Comic Book Women is premiering tomorrow night, their very first show. And I think if you guys are going to enjoy it, everybody out there, if you have any females in your life that really love comics, or you're just a big-time comic geek and you like to support our channel, I really think that you're going to enjoy this show either way. But it is something that is sorely needed, I think, in our community, and hopefully it'll help bring in some new blood into this community also. So we'll see.
Yeah, you met Jen last week, and of course Laura every Friday night. So familiar faces.
I think this is going to bridge the gap, guys, because, I mean, how many guys that are watching this show sat there and go, your wife is or girlfriend is your significant other has yelled at you at one point or another for your comic book playing around, they're air for you. Why did you need another one of those? Get them to watch this show, get them involved, and maybe we can bring them over to the dark side, you know?
I don't know if I can afford my wife coming over to the dark side with me. It'd be bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
So I see the chat tonight is going crazy. I appreciate everybody in the chat. I apologize that we didn't have much time to ask many questions that you had for Greg. He didn't have much. He was a little limited on time, so we just kind of wanted to.
And
do our
Bryan
best.
had 78 questions.
I had 78 questions that I already told the guys before the show. I said, listen, I'm going to be nice and say, do you want to say anything? But you just say no, because I'm taking this one over.
Hey, he's actually calling me. I'm going to hop off.
All
Sorry,
right,
man.
thanks, Anthony.
Right.
And I appreciate that we got lucky, and 2 of our favorite retailers got him with Bird City and Wanted Comics. Man, that's awesome. We love both those guys. So
yeah, we have a market report tonight that is really, really Frazetta heavy, and I was hoping that he might have some extra time to check out some Frazetta goodness, because I know he's a old school comic, Golden Age and Silver Age fan. So. Maybe next time. But speaking of the market report, do you want to get into that?
Yeah, let's. So I want to let me do my own picks, because I want to make sure I do them in order. Hold on, there we go. I want to get my own images, because I got an order that I want to roll here. Sorry. Okay, so the Famous Funnies run is one of his most iconic runs. A series of goes from 209 to 216 of and it's just iconic. I mean, they're all gorgeous covers, sci-fi kind of good girl vibes on a lot of them, and it's the run that Ben and I call it FFFF, Frank Frazetta Famous Funnies. It's our inside kind of calling it. And I actually learned something today I didn't know. I assembled a low grade run of these, a few slabs in the 2 to 3.5 range, and some raws. I'm pretty sure my nicest one maybe is a 4. Just because I didn't see a lot of, I didn't have a lot of money when I did it. I did this a few years ago, and I also didn't, you don't see a lot of mid grade. There's low grade. And there's high grade. I don't know if we would call them file copies, but there seem to be some copies that are file-ish. And there's a lot of them at the high end of the census on a few of these. I had not paid attention to the difference on the census on these. And there were some auctions this week that just made me go, what? I was in shock, because I had a price point in my mind for these. I was maybe going to bid on some. I kind of got distracted and didn't. I'm like, I got copies. I don't need to upgrade to 4s and 6s. But this one's 210. This is one of my personal favorites. I just love the underwater kind of vibe, the coloring on it. And the price point, I thought it was going to go, my thought was between 4 and maybe 6, 7 on a good day. So I was close, 667. Census on this is 97 of them total, which is surprisingly low in my mind. There's 4 96s. One of them is an SS. I assume it's a Frazetta. 11 94s, and 11 9.2s. That's a ton on the top of the census for 97 copies in there.
And you know 9.4s, I guess. Did you see what the 9.4s are kind of going for?
About $3,000.
Yeah, 3,500, or at least on my comic. We won't be too crazy on that, but it's like
No, and I don't think that's an unreasonable price.
no.
So
Not
some
for 34.
some sales data. In last year, a 9.4 went for 3,700. A 9.2 went for 2,600. 2018, a 7.0 went for 1,200, and 2016, a 4.5 went for 282. So here's the thing that I don't think I processed. I bought mine probably in between probably 15, 16, maybe 17 in my sets. They don't sell that often. They don't come up that often. Now that those couple high-end ones are up and nobody wants to spend the money on those, but they just, in my head, they come up fairly regular, but they don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's Frazetta art. I mean, you would think it would come up as regular as like Schomburg covers, right? You would think so. Like, I mean, they're not like, it's not like a crazy, I mean, let's be honest, they're not crazy covers. I mean, some of the funnies are crazy, but I mean, like you would see like Schomburg covers come up. Like, I mean, it's not like their first appearances or some kind of crazy, like, you know.
No, I just think these maybe stay in collections more than I thought.
Yeah.
Because I've sold a few. I've upgraded a little bit. You know, I had a 1.5 or 2 and upgraded to a 3 or a 4. You know,
I mean, we go to cons all the time. How many cons do you see famous funnies on a wall? Like
one time,
yep,
our first indie con I saw, it was either a 9.2 or a 9.4, and it was a beautiful copy of, I think, this one, number 211, which is the next one in the run. And so I was like, okay, 6.0, that's probably gonna go a little more. I thought I was pretty close. I thought it'd be 750 to 9, right in that range. Cool. 107 at census, 2 9.6s, 5 9.4s, 6 9.2s. About half of the last issue. Okay. As far as high grade ones, but still a decent number, 100 in the census. Not a crazy number for what it is. A 9.4 sold last year for $4,000, which is a little more than the one before. Yep. There was an 8.0 and 19 for 1,800, a 5.0 this year for 725, or a 5.5 for 725, a 4.5 for 686, and a 4.0 for 640. So kind of in line, right? That sales data matches.
Yep.
Okay, cool. The next two blew my fucking mind because I'm a Frazetta fan. I've collected these books. I just never looked at the census, I guess. So the next one that sold, all these kind of went the same night, was a 213. It was a 4.0. I thought, okay, this is going to be a $600, $700, $800 book.
I love that cover.
This is one of the, there's 4 that I think stand out. I love the blue one. I think it stands out less to most people, but I love it. This one, another one I'm going to talk about, and the planet one. But this is a very iconic one, one of the best. And I thought, it's, $600-700 is my thought. I hadn't looked at any sales data. I hadn't looked at anything. It sold for $26.51. In the census, 61 of them only. The other 2 had about 100 and change. Highest grade is a 9.0, and there's 1 of them. Next highest grade is an 8.5, 2 of them. The highest GPA sale on record was an 8.5, and it was more than 5 years ago, and I want to say 10 years ago. An 8.0 sold an 18 for $6,000. In March, a 7.5 sold for $9,300. A 2.0 sold for $400 a few years ago, and a 1.8 sold this year for $400. When this hit $2,600, my brain melted, and that's when I kind of dug into the census to look at this, and I'm like, there are not many. They're so low graded that there just aren't many of them. And then it repeated with this next book, which is not my favorite, but a very iconic cover. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful colors. The giant red planet. I mean, this is a gorgeous book. The census, there's only 62 total. 62. It does have 392s and 690, so a little better than the last one. A 92 sold this year for $7,800. A 7.5 sold last year for almost $2K. A 5.5 sold a few years ago for $1,000, and a 4.0 sold actually last month for $2,200, which I missed completely. And for this to sell for $2,300, when a year ago you could have got a 7.5 for less money. I think the market is just freaking hungry because they aren't coming up a lot. I mean, those are only 4 sales in about 3 years, and some of them have been less.
Would you say too that since it's like, we'll say near the end of the run, because end of the run is what, 219, I believe?
Yes, it is near the end of the run, so I'm sure it was going down. That's always been a thing.
And then so too, is it so everybody knows, it started out in 38, and these are in like 54, 55. You know, you got to think too, 54, 55. I mean,
it's going. These are tough books across. The 50s were tough books to kind of get. You're right. I didn't. There weren't sales the other two, 215 and 216. 215 is one of my personal favorites, which is the green one, which I call the octopus cover.
It is the octopus cover.
But both of those, 215 and 216, they're only 40 in the census. And that was the last one I got. And I always thought, I wonder why this one never comes up. I never thought to look in the damn census. They're just less freaking common.
Yep.
So I learned something new. I was in shock of such a price disparity of 4 issues by the same artist, generally equal caliber or similar caliber and similarly regarded, and just such a huge spread. So, damn. That's all I can say. Damn.
Yeah, those Frazetta books, though. I mean,
I have had a search for 215, which is the octopus cover, for I don't know how many years, and I don't remember one coming up. I got mine at some random ass private auction that Ben C and I stumbled upon somewhere because I had a search filter in Google, and there were 2 copies. Both of them beat the shit, and we both bought one. But it doesn't come up a lot, and I just never thought about it. I just thought, well, they don't come up a lot in general, but just whatever. Crazy.
Yeah, I like this one a lot too.
How many? I guess I guess the other thing is to the average casual person, if you found a famous funny like this, would you just necessarily think that's for, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like Superman or like an iconic.
It's a little bit more of a niche thing. You got to know what you're looking for. But I mean, Frazetta's famous. I don't think they're sitting in bins. I mean, there's no dealer that doesn't know.
I bet you people grabbed them and were like, hey, I found these old box of comics, and just threw them away. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're like all these, like, I'm sure, right? It's probably Gold Key Dell stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all cartoon stuff, and just that was mixed in the cartoon stuff, and they were like, oh.
If it got to a dealer, it's known. If it didn't,
yeah,
you don't know. They're just sci-fi comics, you know, and some of them are trash.
Yeah.
There's actually one at the end of, I can't remember, it's the end or the beginning. There's one right before or right after that's not a Frazetta, and it doesn't go for anything.
The 218 didn't go for Frazetta. That was 217, 218. Yeah. The last 2 covers are.
But it was also sci-fi. It was the same Buck Rogers cover, and it just never, just wasn't good.
Yeah.
All right, so one more Golden Age, I think. I don't think I did anymore, but if I did, sorry. One of my favorites, Horrific 3, Don Heck, one of the monsters of the pre-code horror market. A 3.0 sold for $1,281, which honestly doesn't seem terrible. So I looked back. The exact same copy sold in May for almost $1,500. So somebody lost $250 on this damn thing. Probably more with fees.
Yeah.
A 2.0 sold in February for $1,700, and a 1.5 in August of last year for $1,750.
Was this a Sunday auction?
I didn't pay enough attention. I apologize.
Okay. No, that's okay. I just think was it a shitty auction run, or was it?
But if you look, they've all kind of trended down. In fall of 2019, there were 2 sales of a 3.5 and a 3.0 at $1,500-ish. This book doesn't pop up a lot, and I think maybe it just popped up a bunch recently in low grade, and people that were just hungry got it.
Mhm.
The highest GPA sale I found price-wise ever, which blew my mind, was a 4.0 in 2019 for $3,300.
Mhm.
The highest sale tracked on GPA was a 4.0.
Wow.
There are 49 in the census, a 9.0, an 8.0, and of that 49, 29 are 3.5s or lower.
Wow.
That tells you this damn book is not common in any kind of grade.
Sure.
I sold a, I call it the Mohawk one. I had one that had the top section, the horrific, torn off. I bought it for like $250, and I was moving into another book, and I sold that copy for I think $700 or $750 for missing a third of the cover. Thankfully, the bad third.
Yep.
All right. What we got here? This one was a Nico pick, and I honestly thought he was going to show me one that sold for a high price. I didn't do census. It's ASM. There's a fuck ton of them. 2018, it was a $650 book. 2019, it was a $900 book. 12-month average was $943. 90-day average was $955. This actually went right along average, even with the news. This was a Sunday sale.
I don't think
No
the hype's
peak.
built yet on this.
Yeah, we kind of talked about the pre-show, and I said, not there wasn't a lot of love when Electro came out, and then with them, doing another round with Jamie Foxx, and it was no slight on Jamie Foxx. It just I think people are worried that it's either going to turn out terribly like it did before, or it could be a home run, but people aren't putting their horses up on this one yet.
I seriously don't think it's going to be a big part. I think it's just going to be a Sinister Six type thing, maybe short amounts of time, maybe like a teaser type thing for the Sinister Six. I don't see it being a big role. It could be wrong, but I don't think that they can have that many people involved and give them that, or those big of actors involved and give them that much time.
They haven't named a villain yet.
Because no. I mean, they just said that he's the one that fanned most of the flames because he put out that picture out, which is a mock-up of him in the background with Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, and Miles. So,
yeah, I don't know. It's a good hype machine. There's theories of it being the Sinister Six, theories of it the multiverse. I'm just gonna run down potential characters real quick. First appearances in those early issues. Chameleon is in number 1. Vulture, who we saw at Homecoming, in number 2. Doc Ock from the Toby number 2 is in in issue 3. Issue 4 is Sandman, who appeared in the Toby movies.
Yes.
Lizard appeared in the first Garfield. Electro was in the second Garfield. Mysterio was in the Tom Holland Homecoming. Green Goblin is in 14 with the original series. Kraven we've not seen, but lots and lots of talk on Kraven is number 15. Scorpion was teased at the end of Homecoming. Homecoming. Scorpion was teased, which is number 20. Rhino was teased back in the Garfield run, and Prowler was in the Miles movie and Homecoming as kind of a cameo. So those, the traditional Sinister Six, maybe not. But if you're looking for Sinister Six, these are the people that have either appeared or highly likely to kind of pop up. None of these are low dollar books. You're playing a real tough game, as we see. We got a little teaser on this book, and it didn't jump. It actually kind of stayed stagnant.
Well, and I think too is I bet you it's at the end, and I bet you whoever the villain is, I bet you Electro kind of like Jamie Foxx kind of rolls in, does some like sparkle stuff, so they know he's Electro or whatever. And then they're like at a bar or some kind of round table, and you just see the silhouettes maybe of the other 6 to roll into the next movie, I bet, or something of that nature. That's my speculation that's going to happen. So,
yeah. So, just not every book takes off after the news. ASM's such a freaking, solid run that sometimes hard to move that needle. All right. The other end is our friend Kang, Avengers 8. This is a book I toyed with investing in, and I've sold it too often because I got tired of fucking waiting for a decade.
Yep.
But just to say, a 7.5, which was a sale, the closest one I've seen, sold for $13.75. In 2018, it was a $500 book. Before that, it was cheaper yet. 2019, it jumped to $800. 12-month average is $1,000, and 90-day average is $13.22. The high sale was actually 2 weeks ago when the news happened for $15.60. This one actually is a little lower at $13.75. So 2 weeks, that shows how short our memories are.
Mm-hmm.
This spec cycle is instantaneous. We are like fish going to the lure. Oh, shiny new thing. Let's go there. Shiny new thing. Let's go there.
Yeah.
We have no freaking patience on anything.
I guess for me, I don't know if I have too much confidence in Kang. I mean, it's one of those things where you have to see on the big screen to like validate it. I guess it just doesn't give me excitement. I guess weird.
No, it who knows? It could be great. It could be terrible. We're not even sure what's happening with Marvel for the next 2 years right now, right?
And it's not the sexy pick. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying there's a ton of other sexy picks when it comes to Avengers villains, but I mean, it's
the sexy pick is Doom.
It is. I mean, but you gotta introduce. I mean, do you do Doctor Doom's solo movie? Do you do another Fantastic Four? It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, please don't do another Fantastic Four. They've chopped that up twice.
I know.
I watched the new one with my children just because they're like, we need to watch something, and I'm like, you're gonna regret it, but okay.
Did it like it?
I like number 2. I'm still number 2. I think was good. I like Silver Surfer, man. Silver Surfer. Though everything else about that movie sucked, but Silver Surfer carried it and was good enough to make me like it.
Galactus was just worthless, though.
Yeah, but that was like very small part of it. They really fucked that one up. But Silver Surfer was badass.
No, I actually went back and watched those movies, and if you erase Doom from the first one, it wasn't terrible. And the second one, if you erase Galactus, it wasn't terrible. They just couldn't land the villains.
Yes. Yeah.
They were not fantastic movies, but they were better than I remember.
Yeah.
All right. Another big spec book is the first Spider-Woman, Marvel Spotlight 32, a 9.8 sale, which didn't even actually have 9.8 in the title, which confuses me.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell sold that damn thing? They thought $1 start, no reserve was more important than 9.8. What do I know? Census 2,853 on the census, 175 9.8s, which is a little surprising. Pretty tough black cover. 500 plus 9.6s, almost 500 9.4s. Sales data. 2018, it was a $1,500 book with $1,100 book with 17 sales. 2019, it was a $1,500 book with 14 sales. 90-day average is 1,700 with 6 sales. So this puppy just keeps going up. In July and August, it was still a $1,600 to $1,700 book, and then in September it popped. So the question is, are people just buying the hype, buying the thing, or are there people that know what's going on and going after these?
What do you do after this? I mean, say she does get a movie or something. It's like, I don't know what you do after this. I mean, it's like one of those books where it reminds me of almost like, I hate to say it because Guardians had like 2 or 3, good movies, but it's like after the first Guardians, nobody thought it would be like 2 and 3, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, I've been wrong before, but it's like
the hype cycle doesn't repeat though for most characters.
Yeah.
You go up
once.
And at that point, the big Marvel characters go up because they're blue chips, but Groot hasn't went crazy, and Star-Lord has honestly stayed pretty stagnant. All those characters have been pretty calm.
Yeah, and Groot, you would think Groot, because Tales as Thomas was, or Tales as Spencer, it's a hard book to find. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not saying that eBay couldn't have a ton of them, but still, I mean, it's not every day you see a first Groot lying around,
Yeah. So, whatever. I'm going to go back to that one.
Oh boy.
This one I've just put in for our friend at cover price, Matty D, because he loves this book. And of the She-Hulk variants that aren't Red She-Hulk, this one is one that always stuck in my mind because that man wanted one of these so bad.
Dude, we had one when this first started. Oh, it was crazy. I had one of these.
I don't see the appeal of it. I do not like it. No, I don't like the color. I don't like the way she looks. And Matt, listen, there's no dirt on DeVoe because I agree with that guy so much on so many other things. Shout out Nintendo Power and that type of stuff. But this cover to me is just garbage, man.
It's just it's just because it's a 1 in 100. You know what I'm saying? Like
this run did not go very far either. It was not a long run. It wasn't a big book. It kind of turded early. And honestly,
600 bucks isn't bad. I mean, that's a doable price.
The numbers I listed, 33 bidders too. It wasn't like nobody saw this book.
Yeah.
So census 27 graded, 18 9/8 and 6 9/6. We remember people were looking for this book like crazy in 18 and 19, maybe 17.
Yep.
2018 there were 2 sales. $200 early on, $1,200 later. 2019, $1,200. February of this year, $850. Now, when the character is getting heat, it's only $600. It just kind of goes to show you that the market is very picky on what it wants, and it has not chosen this cover. Which it may be probably one of the rarest damn She-Hulk covers. A 1 in 100 of the series that didn't go anywhere. I don't know. Potentially, this is what we talked about with Greg: is art fuels the spec market, and this art doesn't hit. Yeah, as much as I love you, Matty D, you have good taste, but not this book.
Yeah, if I didn't know what this book was, I would go buy it in a box and not even pause on it.
JJ Maxwell, good friend of the show, said this is one of her worst covers.
You're right. Cynthia Ohm is very, very good artist.
And this just didn't hit, in my opinion. I think it's different. It's a different look, but I don't love it. So, our friend Ultra Maximus is here. Let's talk about his favorite book, or one of his favorite books. Transformers 1. I don't mean to offend. I just feel like there's some shenanigans going on here because the price on this book has went nuts. Because I remember thinking about it a few years ago, going, maybe, but there's so many, don't buy it. Census almost 3,000 graded, which isn't as many as I thought. There are 3 9/9s. I'd love one of those. 516 9/8s. 787 9/6s. Throwing things in there. There's a Canadian price variant with 9 9/8s and 9 9/6s. A nice place to play. I don't love the price variants, but not a hell of a lot of them. The last 9/9 sale was in 2010, and that was $1,550 back then. The last 9/8 Canadian price variant sold in 2020 September for $2,400 and change. All right, only 9 of them. That feels okay. 9/6 sales on this book is only $250. In 2018, the average price was $375, which I remember looking at here going, 2019, it climbed to $580. 90-day average is $1,247 on this book.
Wow.
I would never have thought that. I mean,
no. We talked about this a couple weeks back too, didn't we?
Yes. So I'm going to just give you a little trajectory of the year. January 17th of this year, you could have bought one of these for $475. $475 in January. In May, it broke 800, but it kind of trended in the 6-7 between those points. In October 3rd, it hit over a K and has a few sales since then. So all of a sudden it's spiking. There's either somebody inside just like saying it's going or somebody playing with the numbers here. Yeah, I will point out one sale in August was a newsstand for $2,600. But a newsstand is a newsstand. We know that game's crazy.
I mean, it's triple the amount of money, man. I mean, I would have bought a bunch of them. I knew I could triple my money on them. It's ridiculous.
I understand tripling money for Miles had a reason to spike. Why has this spiked? Because I don't think it's like a generation moving into it, right? We were of that generation, and we all went
nostalgia, man. It's the same reason that G.I. Joe's going to spike here shortly, which I know we talked about it last week. I think Nico talked about G.I. Joe and Transformers being in some books to look at for the nostalgia factor, because we're seeing that on other books. I mean, look at Star Wars.
I think we all thought it was nostalgia, though, 2 years ago at 300 and 400, because there were so many of them.
Ultra Maximus said, too, is Hadro or PulseCon happened, too, I mean, but still, I mean, even with that, it's just like, it's not like they're having their first movie. You know what I'm saying? Transformers is done. And I mean, Mark.
They have not left the cultural lexicon, right? They've been a cartoon, a movie. They're always going. I don't understand why it's almost tripled.
I like this comment too of Arthur King where he mentions the Voltron books too. Those Voltron, the first 3-part book or set that came out, I could see that being something to
they
look
were
at.
cheap for a few years ago. I haven't looked at them recently.
Yeah.
And I looked at all these books and thought, I got other things I want.
And if this is true, what Ultramax says, that there's more rumors out there of the shared universe stuff, well, I don't know, man. We'll see.
He could be right. And maybe this is insiders going, I know what's happening. Let's go.
Yeah. I have a full run. I have a full run of Transformers and a full run of G.I. Joe waiting.
All right, a couple more books. This one, I didn't catch my eye. Was Nico caught it? The What If 10. There were some rumors we talked of. I think last week we talked about is that they were talking about filming starting late this year or had started, and it seems to have revived this book. Sold for $11.25 this week. I didn't do the census. I didn't fucking care this time. The high sale was in August of 2019 for $1,400, and Nico says that's his because he timed the market very well. Through June of this year, it was a $700 book. It had kind of trended pretty low, and all of a sudden, recently it spikes up. Apparently, maybe we're like, nothing else to talk about. Rumor goes, let's buy some more. Let's jump up $400 on this puppy.
Wow.
So October 3rd, actually, there was a $1,000 sale, and then this one was on the 4th. So people are buying back in, I guess. And then last book, I just wanted to revisit this one because why not? We love talking about Miles because if we go 3-4 weeks without it, we're irrelevant. Ultimate Fallout 4, the Verjek variant 9.6 sale. On the census, there are 612 graded copies of the variant, 1 in 25, 154 9.8s, 217 9.6s, 122 9.4s. Just for reference point, the first print is 7,300-ish and 2,200 9.8s. So I guess it's sitting right around 1 in 15 ratio on the grade. The sales, a 9.8 sold for a high in July of 8,500. The last sale of a 9.8 was fairly recent at 8,250. 9.6 in August, there were 2 sales for 4,500. Then it dropped to 4,200, and then 3,200, and now this one at just under $3,000. In January, you could have this book for under $700. I kind of thought that 9.6 price was a little high. We've talked about it. It felt a little high. It's kind of dropped back to, about a third or a fourth of the 9.8 price, which seems to be where things land. Half of a 9.8 is about the top, but things tend to settle closer to a third when you get to the 9.6.
Did you say Steve Horn was the seller of this?
I didn't say anything about that. Sorry.
Is Steve Horn the seller?
I didn't say that. I don't know.
Oh,
Did you
because
say
he
that?
says no. Look at the comment. He says the winner hasn't paid yet, so there's that. It'd be interesting. I want to know: is he talking about that he was the seller?
Maybe. I don't know.
If he is, shout out to him. Hopefully, the winner pays. So,
I think that was it, right? Yeah.
All right.
Oh no, I wanted to show one just for shits and giggles because I enjoy these fucking DC variants. Where'd that go? Man of Steel number 20, Superman Man of Steel number 20. I found it only amusing because it was such a fucking high price at $813.99. I can't see if it's 21 or 31 bidders. It's one of these DC Universe logos.
21.
Steve Horn's gonna fucking grate me over the coals. There's no spec value. It's just fucking people really chasing, Obscura, and I don't have a problem with that. I chase Obscura. It's not my potential choice of Obscura.
Hey, I got an Obscura one of those. Not of that of a DCU book, but not of that one.
But what I love is this title says only one in CGC census. So as I got looking at the census, there are 5 in the census. So I thought maybe he meant the only 9.8. No, there's 2 9.8s. Somebody got a little hosed, or somebody jumped on after he put this auction up. But
eBay 101, man.
You lied, you bastard. But
so here's the question. The question is, did Steve sell this one too?
He probably.
I wonder if that's the one he's talking about. I don't
No,
know.
he sold the Venom book or the Ultimate Fallout 4. He did say that was his. He said, yes, I am the seller.
All
So
right.
shout out to Steve. Hopefully he gets paid for that. Maybe he double dipped and sold this one too, because we all know that him and the DC Universe variants are like one.
He's the master.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't these books. I love Obscure. I don't know. I like the DC Universe. I have a few. I just don't understand some of the common books. I mean, they're rare, but it's a common issue. But there's guys that fucking want it, so enjoy. Watch the bins for them, man. Watch the bins. Every once in a while, you get a little honey hole of 6 or 8, 10 DC variants. Buy them all.
Look at you just pouring salt in that wound, Deno.
He had a chance. I told him to buy it.
For those of you guys that don't know, what are they talking about, Deno?
Then Supergirl, I think it was Supergirl, the Death of Supergirl. There's a DCU.
Death of Superman, yeah.
Death of Superman with the Supergirl on it. It's a hard book. I mean, and Doc Joe, he showed me one. I said, he's him and Han. I was like, you go buy it, dude. He's like, no. He goes, you buy it. I said, fine, I'll take the gamble. It was like, I don't know, a couple $100. And my man Leg, he pressed it up for me, and he got the old 9.8.
So
Beautiful.
Steve did not sell the Man of Steel 20. So he said he couldn't part with it.
I mean, I understand. We all grew up with them. It's a nostalgia thing a little bit, and it's, it gives us a little sense of rarity of our books that were printed to the fucking bejesus. But
they're tough 9.8s, man. I mean, you got to think those are.
Yeah, they were often in comic packs and fucking bizarre things.
And they got the black edges on the covers, for at least the Funeral for the Friend one do. So I mean, like any kind of bin, it's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like unless it's color breaking, of course.
Yeah. So. Listen, I still want a 9.8 of the damn Platinum Funeral, but I struggle because I don't like it out of the bag as much as I like it in the bag.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I've got a raw, and I'm just going to keep it, I guess.
Real quick, we want to let you guys know about Comic Barricade. Their new Comic Barricade XLs are going to be a hit. If you guys have magazine boxes, or you have your graded books boxes, and you need something to stabilize them, Comic Barricade is the way to go. You guys can use the code CBSI Tales to get not only 10% off, but also get free shipping, which is kick-ass. So go use CBSI Tales, get yourself some Comic Barricade. I don't know if I like this tagline or if it's just too risque, but I like it either way. Insert, support, stabilize. Comic Barricade.
As they're promoting stuff, obviously, like and subscribe to the channel.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you guys like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for our latest content that comes onto the channel. And let's go ahead and do that.
You guys got any pickups for tonight?
I have about $1,000 receipt at Home Depot for some wood, so I can start building the crib 2.0.
Oh, nice.
We didn't talk about one thing before pickups. I just want to throw the news. We talked about Spider-Man and the Electro, but how about Kamala Khan getting casted? That was a real young actress.
And
I think that's their plan, though.
And she's unknown too.
I understand. Wow, it was surprising.
So the way me and Jen were talking about that from, if you caught last episode, Jen's doing the Comic Book Women on tomorrow. So
check them out; they'll be good.
Yes, they will be. They will be. Dude, Jen is an animal, just an absolute animal when it comes to speculation and stuff.
We've been doing this 4 years and we still suck. So they will be better enough probably by episode 3.
Yes. And then the other thing too is that it's funny to talk about because she was virtually unknown and trying to find any kind of answer. She has like no social media presence. They found her on like an actor search. You know, they've been looking for this person for months and got this virtually unknown chick, and she's from Canada. So it's interesting.
I think they wanted to go really young so that they could have that character or that actor, you know, play multiple movies as she grows up. Which I still don't. I mean, you can always change an actor. I don't see anything wrong with changing an actor. I know people go crazy, but
and truthfully, it makes sense because they may not even film for another year at the rate it's going.
Yeah, well,
it could start yesterday. It could start week. Things could get postponed. You probably need a little room to grow.
I think that I'll be honest. I think that they had an idea to do something with that character, but I don't think they realized how much of a cash cow it really could be until probably the last 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're starting to see everybody kind of the fervor start around her. People don't realize who she is yet, but they're learning now. And I mean, I hate to say it, but I really think the spec world was a big part of that. I mean, I don't hate to say it, but maybe I'm way off. But
well, that's a sign. We're entering a place where in culture where diversity is becoming even more important than it was. So all these things lend to a hit. I mean, honestly, my only problem with Miss Marvel is if they would have named her something else, honestly.
Yeah.
It just becomes confusing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why they tried to differentiate it with Captain and Miss, which is whatever. Yeah.
I bet, honestly, in hindsight, Marvel wishes they did it because they didn't realize they had the two biggest female characters they would have.
Yes.
With the same name.
Yeah.
So, hey.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Captain Marvel going forward, because I feel like they've really dropped the ball on that, and I think they're realizing it too, which is kind of shitty because I want to see that character more. But we'll see. Here we go.
Jody Finks, Strange Academy. I think. God damn it! I keep hitting it. You keep kicking it off. I don't know, man. That's so far down the line in my head. That's so many
people already stacking it. I mean,
so many moves. I mean, we got a ways to go. The Marvel universe has been building for almost 70 years. Is that right? 60 years?
The Marvel universe or the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
No, the Marvel comic universe.
Yes.
From the 60s to 20. Yeah, frick. 60 years. There's a lot of material to cover. Let's not rush to cover everything that came out last week now. There's so much good stuff. Let's enjoy it. We've been waiting our lifetimes for it.
Yeah.
I understand their spec, but I don't need yesterday's story now. I got a little time to wait.
Yeah, I think that something needs to happen with the comic book movie / entertainment, TV industry. I think that people wanted it so badly and it's gotten overran with content and some of it isn't really good. I think that they're going to have to change directions on it and make a lot of it more gritty and change the direction of the comic book movies because they're starting to get stale. I don't know if anybody else has that feeling, but I feel like we wanted it so badly, and when we got it, we were so stoked that they just flooded with content that isn't the greatest, and they have to change something.
Yeah.
We'll see though. Definitely Strange Academy, Stack and Hold. Everybody's really talking about that book, whether it's going to be something in the future on the MCU or just because it's a great book. I mean, I like the idea. I think it's got the whole X-Men vibe to it. I like how they're basically all new characters. I like that. I could see that happening.
All right, you want to hit some pickups, man? So before I have to go to bed and go to sleep.
Yes. I only have a couple pickups. One of them isn't really a pickup, but I didn't know I owned it. So I'm going to end with that one.
I love that.
So I was going through books to get books to sell, and I came across a box that I didn't realize was full of graded books. But first, I'll talk about I picked up let me do this. I picked up one of these second prints, these Black Panther number 8, the Steel Freeze variants, the second print. And I picked up one of the Momoko No Heroine number 3s, just because I like Frank Ogle and I like to support him. And this is a great series. And figure if I was going to pick up Peach Momoko books, I might as well, go for that series. So shout out to Frank and No Heroine. Yeah. And the biggest thing is, like I said, I was going through boxes and I opened up a top and didn't realize it was a graded box. And I was going through and I'm like, oh, look at these. I didn't realize I had these. And one is a really good one that I don't remember ever buying.
Holy shit. Is that what's the grade on that? I can't see.
9.8.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. So I was flabbergasted. I think it's going for like maybe 500, 400.
Old.
Oh yeah, I could really see this one blowing up. I'm really stoked. It blew me away. I was doing a little self happy dance when I found it. So very cool. Cover. Yeah, it's one of my favorite covers. It's like, I don't know if I sell it or not, but if it gets to a decent price, I'm gonna have to part with this.
Well, so. I mean, we're talking about purple is just that color that freaking pops when done right, and that one's done right.
And same with I like Spider-Gwen's costume. The color on her costume pops, and then the purplish red rose, pink rose is really good. So, yeah, man. And I think Paul might have talked about this one in the past, and that might have made me go find one.
Comes ebbs and flows, man. You can find it cheap, and then for a few months it's expensive as hell, and then it's cheap, and then it's expensive as hell. You got to catch it on a lull. Yeah,
so I never remember buying it.
Good job.
Finally, speccing and not selling something pays off. So that is my quote unquote pickups this week.
All right, I just got a couple.
All right. Yeah, I hear that, and I think 60 minutes later we're gonna be done with the foreign part.
No, they're all foreign, but I just did a couple. This is one I picked up. Honestly, it's a Mexican copy that I got from Australia. I didn't even buy this for me. It's probably going to a good friend of ours. We can guess who. I just really dug the art. A little bit of a werewolf cover. So,
yeah, I like that cover. That's badass.
When I send it to you, keep it this time. I sent him a book last time and he sent it back.
Who?
Our presser.
Oh.
He wasn't paying attention to what I said. He's like, I pressed it for you real good. I'm like, that was for you. Again, werewolves.
Yeah.
We talked about potential Spider-Man spec. I just bought the French Canadian version of First Prowler.
Yep.
Popped up. I wanted it. Actually, same seller as the werewolf, and thought, hell, why not? I'm not going to see this one again. I showed this a few weeks ago. I bought a nicer copy. First Morbius from Brazil, an Ebal. Does have a little bit of a stamp on the top, but much better than the other copy. And one more. Copper Age comics in foreign's vary in rarity, but from everything I've kind of talked about, one of the rarest countries that produce comics, and I would have never thought it, is Iceland. Think how small Iceland is.
Yeah.
They made comics in the Copper Age. I bought one before, which was the Spectacular Spider-Man 101, that fantastic John Bryan cover, the black and white one. I think the biggest key of that run I just got. First time got one.
Nice.
Wow.
Landing. That's beautiful, man. The colors popping. When did that get printed?
Around the same time, within a year or two.
Wow.
But I am all about rare countries and big keys because this is a huge, nostalgia character if we talk about it, right?
Yeah. When's the next time? Yeah, I agree.
So I will buy the rarest version of a book that, listen, if foreign never grows, there's still not many of those. And people will look for it. So,
well, yeah, I'm all about rare stuff, and I think it's cool that you kind of found a niche to find all that stuff. I want to do a quick shout out before we leave. Somebody in the chat mentioned, and I apologize, I'm just not finding it. Somebody in the chat mentioned that they got their 4-color comics product in.
I love it.
Yeah, and so shout out to 4-Color Comics, and if you guys don't know about them, they do some amazing work. You can see it behind John back there. He's got the Chamber of Chills and the Black Cat back there behind him, which are beautiful, beautiful pieces that 4-Color Creations did. So shout out to Rick Dodson and whoever. Somebody recently put it in the chat, and I just can't find it. So. Shout out to people in chat. One last quick thing. Joey Fink asked, what's your take on Silk? As of right now, I think that it's a viable spec character. We all think that. And I think it's pretty obvious that they're going to try and do something big with her.
Yeah, all those spider characters, you're gambling a little bit which one takes the lead, but one of them will.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
I will just throw a shout out. We have the Comic Book Women tomorrow. Early in the day, Matt and I are going to just release early. We've got a Global Comic Safari, the Halloween horror special. We have a couple guests showing off some amazing Mexican horror. Some of it's reprints, some of it is exclusives. And then our friend Josh, who's been on a few times, shows a few books he's picked up. And one of them turns out to be a bigger key than we all knew. So check that out tomorrow. And
before we leave, we want to remind everybody that if you guys want to get yourself some gorgeous homages, variants, and beautiful Greg Horn art, pick yourself up this Punchline variant that is based on this awesome meme, and really good job that they did on the A and B covers with Bird City Comics. But in my opinion, this C cover is absolutely gorgeous and knocked it out of the park, especially the coloring, the homage on his own work, the little joke, Greg Horn after Greg Horn. I think this just knocked it out of the park. And if you guys want one, go hit up birdcitycomics.com or greghornart.com and pick yourself up a set. And if you really want to display that thing in a beautiful order, get the infinity frame along with it over at birdcitycomics.com. Other than that, yeah. Big thank you to everybody that jumped on tonight. Shout out to everybody that didn't. We hope you guys are home safe. I know Stein is out in the somewhere else for his job. So traveling. He's a traveling man right now. So shout out to Stein. He tried to get on earlier tonight. Shout out to Paul. He was working. So much love to them. Thank you, Greg Horn and Bird City Comics. And make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night for the premiere of Comic Book Women. And we will see you guys next time.